Our Jewish brethren in the U.S., wake up. How could you not understand your own history? And I would venture to say, because many of you don't care about where you come from and how you came to be your own history. What Hashem did with his promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who became Israel and established the 12 tribes, and by his edict, his covenant, his promise, formed a nation out of the Hebrew people to become Israel. And of those 12 sons, now famously known, all of you, as Judeans, Jews. And throughout the history of going into foreign nations, either by captivity and exile or by choice as a result of being taken and left or escaping into, when your homeland, your indigenous homeland of thousands of years, was occupied by foreigners and made it untenable for you to stay in your own land with the desire to always come back. Jerusalem. Part of that captivity, part of the exile was due to punishment directly from Adonai, Hashem himself, as a result of the violation of Torah. What he said would happen, what he would allow if you forsook him. But he would always bring you back, he said, a remnant to come back, as is the case when taken to Eastern Europe, when taken to Spain and Turkey, and then deeper into Europe, the Scandinavian countries that moved about, right into Germany, Scotland, Ireland. You can see the history. And then you see, of all things, what happens when anti-Semitism rises in those places. Russia, Eastern Europe, Germany, Austria, Poland, obviously, Spain. And here we go again, living abroad out of your homeland, having to blend in, to fit in, or to survive. Have to hide in the open. Take on a different name or convert just on the face of it in order to live and to conduct business. Throughout history, some of those conversions, the majority of them were forced conversions. Other of them were choice conversions to survive. And then here comes 1948. Here comes the repatriation of the land. And leading up to that, many who were already there legally buying the land that nobody wanted, that the Arabs sold to them, probably thought they were getting a good deal. Look at these Jews buying the land. It's a swamp. It's nothing. And the kibbutz were formed. And then those people who had the courage, the know-how, the ingenuity, the technology, the will, the passion, and the promise of Adonai went back and bloomed the desert by the promise of Adonai and their willingness and obedience to be where many didn't want to be, where many thought would never become anything. And it did. Because they cared for the land and wanted to return to their heritage, had nowhere else to go. And many foreign entities, League of Nations, United Nations, you know the players, for reasons all to themselves, did not even know they were playing into the hand of God, began to muddy the water with their return and try to confuse it. But in the midst of all of it, they still prevailed. The Arabs did not want a two-state solution. In fact, they turned it down. They were getting a lot more than Israel was getting, but Israel even agreed to a bad deal just for the sake of peace. They didn't want peace. They wanted destruction and elimination. They didn't want to leave any stone unturned that gave an Israelite, a Jew, a right. So they turned down every offer, even when they got what they wanted in the terms. Those are all lies. They don't want a two-state. Twice they've turned that down. They want a no state anywhere near them. And when you look at the history of what those people endured, you remember it was the Arabs who told them to leave, told the Arabs to leave. The Jews didn't kick them out. The Arabs told them to get out so they could kill them. Just like we do in America. We're about to bomb a country. We call the embassy, tell the Americans to evacuate. Why? We're going in. The Arabs told their own people, get out. Why? We're going in. We're going to kill them all. They lost. Not only did they not kill them all, Israel took more territory. They got more. God gave them the victory. Hashem Adonai. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. And so it was. So the real heroes are those in Israel who are holding down the fort, and they're keeping up the fight. I don't expect any Americans to understand that. You can't. You have never been in that situation. Even the Civil War doesn't compare. That's brother fighting against brother. You've had no foreign enemy on this soil that was colonized by the Brits and the French and the Spaniards. No, you've had no foreign enemy you've had to defend your border against. In-house fighting is all this been. Britain fighting against its own colonists, and then the colonists fighting against their fellow colonists. You cannot compare yourself to Israel, so don't. And now here we are in the modern world. Jews in the U.S., Israelites, Hebrew people in the U.S. And like your history, everywhere you've gone, eventually they've turned on you. And yet you can't read the writing on the wall. They're turning on you. Again, here. The Islamization of the West. What England becomes, France becomes, the U.S. become. For we are the child of France and England. And now you see it happening again. Islam has come into France, got rid of the Jews, overpopulated, going to England, same thing, getting rid of the Jews. Don't you see? It's the same thing. Hitler marrying the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, meeting to destroy. He and Mussolini, all of them come together against one common enemy that they hate. And if anyone's been reading the writing on the wall in the U.S., you should be seeing this. It's nothing new. It's been happening for now 25 years, maybe 30 years. Muslim prayers held throughout the cities in Detroit. You can get up and hear the Muslim prayer in Detroit like you can in Turkey or Iran. It's not just Detroit. It's going on in Chicago. It's going on everywhere. And it's spreading like a wildfire. Islamophobia? Oh, no. No. Their intent, and it's in all of their writings, it's in all of their mosques, is the total saturation, destruction, not assimilation, elimination of the Western world and the destruction and death of the Jews. But every non-Jew has to convert to Islam or die under its boot. There is no compromise. There is no negotiation. There is no two-state solution for Islam in America. Read the writing on the wall. So what are you going to do? Defend Islam and wave a Palestinian flag? Even the Arab nations don't want the Palestinians. They're just pawns used for Sharia law, for ISIS, for the caliphate, which they fight amongst themselves for. Who gets to ruin the rest of the world? We want that right. And yet you don't see it. See, the West is too open, too feminine, too willing, too nice, too kind, can't handle anything, can't stand up against anything. Anything will make a Westerner fall. A smallest breeze, they can't handle anything because comfort and too much ease has destroyed their ability to defend themselves against an invader. But you Israelites, you know, because you have to do it every day. They don't have to do that in America. They can't stand hearing any kind of bad news. Their day is disrupted. Oh my gosh, something bad, I can't take it. They've never heard bombs over their heads, sirens making them rush into a shelter. They're spoiled brats. And they're so inebriated by not just their alcohol and their drugs and their sports, but by their ideology. It's numbed and dumbed their minds. They're ill-equipped to handle Islam, and Islam knows it. You got the King of England supporting Islam. Willfully come, take over our borders. That wasn't just a Swedish thing. They're all doing it. And it's a bit too late because you've let too many in and you don't have the will to round them up and kick them out. No, the poison is spread. So to my Jewish friends in America, be grateful for your Jewish brothers who have a place for you to escape to, because the rest of the world has been Islamic-sized, Mohammedized, and your one home, your place of refuge is in Israel. And the ones who have stayed behind are doing the work that you refused to do because you were a coward. And now you've joined the enemy against your own people. You become a coward. Refuse to fight the fight. God bless those of you in Israel who are fighting at ground zero. The enemy of Adonai, Hashem, and the enemy of civilization. You are the warriors. The rest are just cowards. May God strengthen you, and may He continue to have His will be done. Perhaps one or two who have left, who are cowards, will wake up and put on the armor of a real Jew and go back to defend and to stand with their brothers in arms who are under constant attack. Because I guarantee you that if you don't, you'll be attacked right where you're at, especially in the United States of America. It does not end well for you here. Read the writing on the wall and get ahead of it. Don't wait. It'll be too late. Don't be scared, be prepared, and be full of faith.
And to be clear, what you have to do is get up and get out. Up, out, and into your promised land, where the Lord told you to go. Sure, it's going to cost you. It's going to be very uncomfortable. You're going to lose your home. You're going to lose your business. You're going to lose your friends. You might lose everything except one thing: your very life. What's more valuable to you? Stuff or life? Because learn the lessons from the Jews in Germany in the 20th century. They had the opportunity to go, but their businesses were more important. Well, how can we go? I mean, there's nothing in Israel. There's no economy. There's no factories. There's no industry. Here we have our business. We have our home. Great grandmas buried in the backyard. We have history. Here in Israel, it's just a swamp. And then Hitler comes to power, and the rest is history, as they say. So are you really that stubborn? Why won't you learn from history? I know what you're thinking. Oh, that was then and that was there. It's not going to happen to us. It's not going to happen in the United States. I mean, this is the United States of America. The United States of America, well, that was Germany last century. It was the same thing. The Western world. You're digging your own graves. Get out.